So thank you, welcome today. So this is one of, I guess, my favorite events of the year. So this is the Data Science Mentoring Circles end of the year, end of the season celebration, and we typically every year organize a panel discussion, and we have the pleasure of having some distinguished mentors and guests today. So I'm Yannis Paskalidis, I'm one of the faculty here. My primary appointment is in engineering, in electrical and computer engineering, but I also have an appointment in computing and data sciences. And I happen to be the director of the Hariri Institute, which is the university-wide research center. And we are the ones that started it and also are hosting every year this data science mentoring circles program. I'll say a few things about the program. So the program exists since 2020. And in fact, we have one of the founders of the program, Clementine, who is here today as one of the panelists. And over this period of time, which is not that many years, we have had 250 graduate students that have gone through the program, and they have been helped by 45 exceptional mentors that have participated in the program. Many of the students have found good opportunities in industry and have benefited significantly from their participation in the program. So before we sort of start with a more formal version of the problem, let me take some time to thank people that have had an important contribution. I already mentioned Clementine Platy, and I should mention Ranfei Shu, who is currently coordinating the program and does a lot of work every year in getting all of the students in and making sure that there are enough mentors to help the students and organizing all of the events and the meetings that you have been throughout the season. And also Liang for helping with all of this activity and particularly helping on organizing workshops and events that are related to the program. So thank you all for everything that you are doing. So I'll present, so this is the agenda for today. We'll have a panel discussion and then there is a networking social. We have some things to nibble on and refreshments outside after the panel discussion. And let me present so already mentioned Anne and Clementine and Ranfei. Let me present the panelists today. So Clementine Platy is one of our panelists. She's a machine learning engineer at Meta. Has been relatively recent, right? So last year was in a different position, and maybe she can tell us a little bit about the transition. Jennifer could not make it today. Something came up and could not make it. We have Thomas Grigorczyk, and I hope I pronounced the name correctly, who is the founder and CEO of Terra Analytics. And then Krishna Akuranthi, who is a data science director at CVS Health. So we will start with, first of all, asking them, each one of them, to say a few things about their role in the organizations that they are. And maybe you can sort of describe your main responsibilities and what you do in your organization, and also give us a little bit of a taste of your sort of day-to-day activities, what you do. And perhaps we can start that way. We can start with Clementine and then move in this direction.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. Really exciting to see so many students on this panel. As Yanis mentioned, I'm a machine learning engineer at Meta. I've been there for a few months now. I joined their ads retrieval team, which means that I am part of one of the machine learning team, because there's a lot of them at Meta, that is working into finding the right ads for you at any given time. More specifically, I don't know if you're familiar with recommender system. When we have a very large catalog of product to recommend, like ads, it goes through multiple stages to go from hundreds of thousands of ads to a few hundred, and then to the final one you're going to see. And each one of those stages is going to require a different amount of compute and accuracy. And I'm in the first stage, which is called retrieval. So I'm in the stage of ranking product that goes from hundreds of thousands to just a few hundred. So that's what I'm working on. I don't want to spend too much time. I want to give time to our panelists. But what does my day-to-day look like? Well, it's changed a lot since I've joined Meta. If you ask me what my day-to-day was at my previous company and today, it's changed a lot. And the reason that it's changed a lot is because Meta is making it a point of principle today. I don't know if you've heard, it's all over the news to be AI first. So there's a very big push for all the engineers to really adopt AI technology. And so what my day-to-day looks like now is me talking to a lot of AI agents. When I start my day, I have an AI agent that gives me a news report on all the latest tools and flags the ones that are the most important that I should maybe learn today. So I talk a lot to my AI agents. I get them to have a task happen overnight, and I check on their results so that they're working while I'm sleeping. That's kind of like the dream, right? Getting work done while you do nothing. I like that. So I check on the results from my AI agents in the morning, and I dispatch them to other tasks. And so at any given time today, I might have like about 10 AI agents that I delegate tasks to, and I monitor like a manager essentially. And I had supervise multiple tasks in parallel, and I see where they're at, and I get back to them when they give me results. So that's what I do. I actually talk to a lot of AI agents today. And
talk using voice, or do you?
so
How do you
actually,
interact?
that's my hope. So at Meta, because we manage so much user data, it's very secure, it's very locked up. So we cannot just use any tool we want. We have a stack that's very specific to Meta. Right now, I don't have voice interaction, but I hope it's coming, because I'd really like to be able to talk to them as I drive, so that I make my drive useful. So right now, it's a lot of just like typing over the keyboard. But what was I gonna say? I write to my AI agents right now. And yeah, but then aside from my agents, I do talk to humans a little bit. I do that in my day-to-day. And so I have essentially projects where I collaborate with people. We have very few meetings. It's kind of like a company policy. Don't have meetings unless it's necessary. What should be an email shouldn't be a meeting. And it's really nice because it means it preserves my time. And so I'm going to meet with people maybe once a day, 2 to 3 times a week, maybe to just catch up on project and redispatch. And then I go and I dispatch the work to my agent and monitor their progress. So I do talk to people, and we have projects going on. But yeah, that's a little bit about my day today.
Okay. Krishna?
Sure. Hey, Krishna here. I'm with CVS for almost a decade. The good thing about CVS is it has got multiple domains, so retail, pharmacy, PBM, and insurance. All my experience in CVS has been into retail merchandising. My first half of the tenure is more about personalization. So I got opportunity to understand about different channels, channel optimization, how to do marketing, budgeting, all those things. Very recently, I took a new role of leading forecasting center of excellence. So moved from personalization to mass campaign. So anytime you walk into CVS store, you see yellow tags, you see prices. So pretty much driven by one of the major input, which is the forecasting. We, the center core of the team, understanding what will happen, what is the baseline demand if you don't do any price changes, what is the baseline demand if you don't run any promotion. So my team currently focuses on building demand forecasting for pretty much like 40,000 SKUs right now in the store. In terms of like my day-to-day activities, I do got 3 different titles. So started from individual contributor to managing a team. Right now I'm a director. So it's pretty much circular. It starts with my team, understanding more like stand-ups, what kind of blockages they have, what kind of decisions they need to move forward. So it starts with that. Then I'll interact with my business partners to understand what net new initiatives that they have that they need analytics support or data science support. Then I work on prioritization. I will have meetings with my leadership, understanding what is the priority, and then we got clarity in terms of like what we wanted to pause, what we want to start. Again, the next day I think it'll start. I'll take those things with my team to understand, to give them clarity in terms of like prioritization. Then the day goes circular in terms of like majority of my time focuses on taking decisions, clearing blockages for my team. So I don't spend time on building models right now, but I spend time on finding where are the areas where we can find value. So what decisions need to make? How can we move fast?
Okay.
Shall I go? Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. So my name is Tomasz. So I'm founder CEO of Terra Analytics, which is a startup. So that's going to be a very different world and very different feedback from, I guess, bigger companies. My heart and educations are in engineering and physics. Terra Analytics, we do optimization, mathematical optimization for logistics. So large-scale optimizations, think of it like Amazon, who has to move millions of items in a very complex network. So you have millions of unknowns. So this is what we focus on. Now, as the, I guess, CEO, I don't like that word so much for a startup, but let's use it. My day is not so much devoted into developing those algorithms anymore, but really thinking about everything else. And the standard things such as customer interaction, looking for the new engagement. So these are all the standard things. What AI I think has disrupted my day very much is that now I have to worry how, as much as we try to disrupt the industry and bring novel algorithms into, I guess, archaic, quote unquote, industry. So we try to disrupt the industry. My nightmares are how is AI going to disrupt us? And so therefore, how we can use AI to disrupt ourselves. But now it's, the barrier to entry to solving this complex problem has been so dramatically lowered that, you talk to an AI, you talk to an agent, and you can come up with some of these optimization solutions, basically in your bedroom. So what makes us unique in a world where commodity AI is becoming a commodity and solving complex, large-scale mathematical problems is becoming almost as easy as talking to an agent. This is really what I have to think about and I'm scared about. Now, what is interesting is I've participated in a few panels on not so much on AI recently, but in general on startup, etc. And usually the question is, what's your typical week looks like? So now we're down to what's your typical day looks like. I think if we have this panel next year, it's going to be what's your typical hour looks like, because everything is becoming so fast and so quick, and it's just incredible the world and the revolution that we are living in. Now, thankfully, we still have a human aspect to it as a startup or as in any companies, right? So we have a technical solution, but we don't sell to bots yet, right? There's a B2B model, business to business. There's a B2C model, business to consumer. There's no B2AI model, right? We don't have to sell our things to AI bots. We have to sell it to people. And even if it's B2C, even if it's B2B, business to business, you still talk to people. And that's, for the moment, yet something that AI is not replacing. So I think we're going to get to these topics later on.
So Thomas, can I ask a question? So I guess AI chatbots are sort of excellent at potentially in the optimization space, formulating problems, but solving the problems still requires compute resources, and also in some instances require sort of specialized software. You know, there are things like Gurobi and other tools. So to what extent these have been integrated in the AI models that you are using, or you are using AI to formulate problems and then writing code that then could call these other engines to be able to solve particularly very large scale problems?
Yeah, so in our particular case, and thankfully, we are deeply involved in the optimization itself. If we were just the layer who interact between the bot or the AI agent and Gurobi, we would have no value, we would disappear. So in our case, we have developed our own mathematical optimization search engines, and we have actually benchmarked them against Gurobi, for example. Gurobi is fantastic to do everything. Ours does one thing, but it does it well. So not to talk too much about our things, but yes, I think you have to find your voice, right? What is your unique thing that is not going to be replaced by the next person sitting to you talking to the same bot, right? And that's of course a danger for every industry.
So I'll keep asking questions, but feel free to sort of show your hand if you want to ask a question. I'm just warming you up, and at some point I will call on you to also pose questions. So we sort of touched, I think all of you described how the world is changing with the use of AI. One question that I have is, if you were to advise undergraduate or graduate students at this point, what are the skills that you are looking for in terms of students that you are interested in hiring? And also, I'll expand this a little bit more. If you were to advising someone that would start their undergraduate career, what do you think are the disciplines that would be, perhaps less vulnerable to AI in the future? And maybe we can go again back to Clementine.
I'm going to start with the question around what kind of skill set I'm looking for in a student. And I want to preface it by saying it differs from company to company and even from team to team. I'm going to tell you what personally I like, and it doesn't mean that it's the memo out there in the industry. Me, what I like is students that are curious. I would prefer students that I've seen a little less, but show a deep interest in understanding the tools they use. Because if they are capable of showing curiosity and learning by themselves, I know they'll pick up the rest. So personally, it doesn't really matter to me if you haven't used the latest and shiniest thing. I just want to see like a certain level of capability of learning and being curious. With the industry, I think there's a big shift, and a question that's posed very often is it still worth learning to code? Personally, for me, yes, because even though as of today my code is almost 100% generated by AI, I still need to review it, understand it, make sure that it does what I think it does. And so I think it's really important to have the fundamentals of coding to be able to make sure that you can, AI is a person in the sense that like they're presenting work to you and you have to be able to assess it. And so I think you need the fundamentals of coding, system design, but it doesn't mean that you need to be a coding expert knowing all the tips and tricks of C++ and Python. I'm going to give you an example of what my coding assistant did this week, which shows that they're very good, but they're essentially, at this point today, they're really, really good, but they're essentially still people who make mistakes. They're very strong engineers that you sometimes need to guide. I had an AI assistant that was in a loop trying to debug a job, and it was launching it on a cluster, and launching a job on a cluster can take 10 minutes. It would wait for the logs, and it would read the logs, and then it would propose a solution, and it was doing this loop, and it went on for 10 hours. And at some point, I stopped the AI. I was like, let's stop here because the feedback loop is so slow. Can you just do everything locally before you start pushing your test to the cluster? And then it debugged the code in 5 minutes. And it just didn't even occur to the AI to just do everything locally before pushing to a cluster. And that's what I mean, like, it's very smart, it does a lot of things, but it still needs to some guiding, and for the person who is guiding it to be able to press pause and guide it the way you would help a junior colleague. And so for what I'm looking for interns is someone that has enough of the fundamentals to be able to go through those conversations and understand whatever goes wrong, re-guide it, look at the code, assess it. You'll find that coding assistants can also be very bloated. They're going to propose to you a solution and it's going to work. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the cleanest. And sometimes you can be like, hey, have you just thought about refactoring this code and put it in a different place? And it's going to like debloat the code. And make it much easier to read in the future. And so I think it's very important still to have good coding skills, but I just want to really say again, this is my personal opinion, and I actually would love to hear what everyone else has to say.
I agree with you on that. So adding on top of that, right? So generally when I'm hiring, especially in CVS, from the graduates, I see a few things actually. One, the structured thinking. The second is the problem solving. Third is the communication. So ideally, however is the AI, they can be your co-pilot, your buddy. You can use them to get answers, but you cannot solely rely on that. As Clementine mentioned, you really need to be there in the loop or in the lead to understand whatever AI has given is valid or not. You cannot just share those results. I also generally look at t-shirt sizing, where pick one area and try to be expert in that. So get more depth in that area, and then that's the and then the horizontal is more like, given the AI is advancing so much, it's okay to learn more about it, but learn in a way that whichever is relevant to you. You don't need to know each and everything that will make you feel like overwhelmed, but choose an area where you feel you want to really grow, be the expert in that area, and make sure you excel on your problem solving, communication, and structured thinking.
Yeah, and so I will absolutely echo the curiosity and the open mindset, the problem solving. Now, just to distinguish maybe two things. One is, if you go into the direction where you want to help develop AI, that's maybe like more meta and very close to the coding, and that's one mindset. The other mindset is probably 90% of the cases is you are a user of AI. So you are a coder, you do code, you develop solutions in a company, but the AI is coding for you. And so this is mostly the world that I'm living in, where we use AI to write some codes and everything that goes around what the core technology that we have developed. But regardless, I think absolutely the curiosity is one of the, I guess, very human trait that we have to keep, and we train AI, or train AI trains themselves, but you have to train yourself as well, right? So what's the alternative if you don't go and learn to code, if you don't practice, if you don't train your brain to think? It does. If you do computer science, if you do engineering, if you do these type of things, maybe you don't find a job in that particular area, but what you do is you train your mindset. You train how to think and how to be critical. And when the AI comes back to you with solutions, questions, you know how to guide it. And I think this is invaluable. So you have to do the learning and the hard part first before you can step out and start saying, now I can be guiding the AI. Certainly AI is going to be better than you than coding, and absolutely faster than you at coding. There's no question. So it's really up to you to use it in a way that is smart, that is guided, and you cannot invent that, right? You have to go through the pain of coding, of learning, of making a mistake, of deploying, of doing it at your own pace, something you can do at universities. You learn, you practice, and you train your own AI, right? I mean, your own, not artificial, but human intelligence. I forget, I had another point to mention, but I guess it skipped my mind now.
So let me push a little bit more on this. I guess you are all describing a world where a lot of things that sort of more junior engineers were doing is now done by AI, but still it needs supervision. And, for those of you that are in leadership position, you're also talking to people and you have a team that you are advising. And that team also employs AI to do what they are doing. And to get to that point where you have developed enough intuition and sort of enough experience to be able to do what you do, you went through a phase where out of school, graduate school, you were a junior engineer or a junior person in some organization, and over time you accumulated some experience to be able to act in this more senior capacity. Do we have a pipeline issue? So how do we get now with AI to the point of sort of developing these people that have experience, that have developed strong intuition, that can sort of advise these AI agents? Do we now expect that these people will be produced straight out of the universities? So what do we do to fill that pipeline gap from people transitioning from a more junior role where they are in the past were acting, were coding, were sort of doing a lot of engineering work, to become the senior people that are advising others, and now these others are AI agents? And maybe, Thomas, we can sort of start with you.
Okay. I think that's an excellent question, and it's a scary question for the industry. Now, I think everything has been compressed, right? The whole timeline has been compressed, which means that when you graduate from BU and you have gone through the classes, the learning, including AI, etc. When you graduate, you're at a level that I was not after graduation, right? So what you call entry level today is what we called expert, 10 years ago. So yes, there is that pressure of, do you have time to learn and do you have time to become expert in what you do? Well, everything has been accelerated, including for you, right? So your level is so much higher, and you're so much more mature than we were 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? We were losing days looking for bugs, and that was always my reflection, is after finding the bug, is like, well, what did I learn? Not much, right? It's really lost time, dead time. And so all this is really compressed, and that's really my message, is that yes, there is this thing that, well, maybe I have to be at a level of expert level, but really, if you keep up with the technology, if you keep up with the classes, if you keep up with the AI and learn and know how to use them, I mean, you come out pretty expert already. There's always going to be someone who has more experience, and that you cannot cut the timeline, and you have to go through the years of gaining that experience. So that absolutely, but the level of the technical level that you have is already very high. The one thing I wanted to come back to, which is the point I wanted to say before, which goes a little bit again, along with this idea, is how to become an expert and how to evaluate and evolve in this new world. And as much as we put an emphasis on the technical skills, learning, shaping your human intelligence and training your brain, there is something that is completely new to me, and which I would put down as an advice to new graduates, is the human aspect. Well, if I had to say bluntly, as much as possible, do double majors or do other majors. Include your technical side, but go and do some English, do some philosophy, do something like that. Because nowadays, the people, I almost want to say that the best computer engineers, and I'm sure that's going to resonate badly with other people on the panel, but it is possible that in a few years, the best software engineers are going to be the English majors. Why? Because they can express themselves clearly, they can frame their ideas, and they can communicate with these AI agents in a way that is effective, that is clear, that frames the things, and therefore gets then the AI on the path to results. So this is certainly something completely new to me. Clarity of thoughts has always been very important, but nowadays I think it's even amplified and even more. So consider, in addition to a technical background, looking for also like humanities and things like that.
I agree. So my thought process is more like get exposure to the tools. So I've seen like people taking a step back, like, hey, do I need to spend money on this subscription right now? Maybe get exposure to like maybe Claude or OpenAI or whatever it is, so that you know like how things are started working for you. When you're working on a project, right? So try to list down the tasks in a way like what agent can do, what really you can do. Try to differentiate those two. So and try to make excel yourself in the parts where you are solely responsible for. Example is like maybe what Thomas has mentioned right now. So back in days, if I have to write a code, maybe a SQL code, I have to write it from the scratch. Today maybe a prompt, right? So earlier it's 0. Now you can start at 60% because 60% of the work was done by AI itself for you right now. But if you really don't know how to use those tools, you're lag behind. So try to get exposure. Try to differentiate really what AI can truly do and where you can differentiate yourself and then excel in that.
I want to twist your question a little bit, Yanis. I see where you're coming from. You're saying as AI shrunk the pipeline for our graduate students. So you're thinking, now like those engineers, they don't need those younger software engineers. Well, put yourself in my shoes, very different angle. I've been building a skill set for almost 10 years. I was a really good coder, like really good. It was really hard acquired knowledge, guys. Like people would come to me when they had a bug because they were stuck for 3 days. My skill set has shrunk overnight, which brings you so much closer to me. I don't think the pipeline has shrunk. I think you guys have stepped up overnight, or I stepped down. I don't know, but I've also like acquired all that experience, 8 years of debugging that obviously I still use. But I think you guys are much closer at graduation today to me than I was from an engineer that had 10 years of experience when I graduated. So I think the AI tools have essentially like given you a ladder that's bringing you much taller than any of us were at when we're graduates. So I think it's an opportunity because now you don't need that skill set that I had to acquire to deliver the result. You just need to have good ideas to deliver results that are very similar to what an engineer has been in the team for years. And I see it. I've been at Meta for only a few months, and I interact with the code base and do things with almost no support in a way that couldn't have been conceivable. Because I use the AI tools very thoroughly, I have a reach and an impact that I couldn't have had unless I had been in the company for, at least a year. The understanding I have of the system because of those tools is just incredible. And so, yeah, I want to twist your question, Yanis, to bring it from the different angle. What if AI wasn't, of course it shrinks the pool because, less skill set needed, but what if, it's also a ladder for you to climb onto and be much taller? That's my point of view, guys.
Okay, so I don't want to monopolize the questions. Any questions from any of you? Feel free to jump in. I have more and we can go for hours, but it's a good point to get questions from you. Yes. And yeah, give us a second. I'll use my mic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your sharing. It's really good insights from the industry. So my first question is to Clementine. I'm really curious about how you use your AI agents, because your working flow nowadays is really different from people work. So it's really, how should I say, like beyond my imagination, because you see like you working directly with the agents, and even you don't, because traditionally people in the big tech companies, they need to have a lot of meetings, right? Like every day you have, you need to talk to people, but now you just talking to AI. So the first one is, what kind of AI tools you are using daily? Do you have some recommendations? Do you have some suggested like paths for the beginners to learn how to study these advanced AI tools?
I can talk about my own personal journey. I went from 0 to 100 AI agentic development within just a few months. And I think it starts slowly. And I started by internally, we have a tool where we can just ask questions. And I was asking questions all the time. And then at some point, I was like, okay, I have to do some code. So I was like, okay, my internal question agent is not enough. I need to start using coding here. So I cracked up Claude and I was like, hey, Claude, can you do this for me? And then at some point, I was like, you know, Claude is lacking a skill. Let me look how to build a skill. And it was a small journey like this where it was essentially one step at a time. So I think the hardest step is to get started, like to even like just get started. Start small. Don't look at it as a mountain that you're trying to reach the top. Just one step at a time, you'll realize as you use those tools that at some point it's reaching its limits. And so you're going to look for the next thing to expand your horizon. So that's my advice for you. My second advice is, and I'm doing this myself every day, I'm trying to remind myself, there are a lot of things in my day-to-day that are really easy for me to do, like answer a message, read a document. Maybe someone sends me a document and it would take me 10 minutes to read the doc and prepare an answer. And my innate reaction when it's really easy is to do it myself. And nowadays what I try to do is to pause and be like, no, can I somehow involve my AI agent? Because I want to get better. And so I'm going to be like, hey, can you read this message from this person that I just got? Can you read the doc? What is it they want me to do? How do you think I should do this? Craft an answer. Do I like the answer? Yes. Okay, I send it. And so I find that my AI agents have a lot of good advice for me. They're like a colleague that you talk to and you brainstorm with. And so I am trying on a day-to-day to force myself, even for the easiest thing, to see if I can involve my AI agent, just because they can do better things. Not better, but like they can make me better and have solutions that I haven't thought of. To answer your last questions around what are my tools today, and I had someone else ask me that very question today. What are the tools you use, Clementine? And I'm going to tell you what I told them. Well, it evolves. Like it's an ongoing journey. The industry is very new and the tools are very evolving. So I don't want to tell you that's the tool, but I can tell you about the tools I'm using as of today. I reached a gap at some point. I had multiple Claude Code session open. I had maybe like 5 or 6. And I don't know if you guys have seen a terminal, it's black, and I had like 6 and I was switching and I didn't remember which was which, and I thought it was really difficult for me to manage all those agents in a terminal. And so I've moved to MyClaw. And MyClaw essentially is Claude with a layer which is in Google Chat. And so now what happens is I have my Google Chat and I have my 10 agents in a sidebar, the way I don't know if have you guys used Slack or something like this? And you know, you talk to people and it's like, I talk to my agents. And now they're all in my sidebar and they're like a colleague. And when they're done with their task, they pop and I can get back to them. So it's really easy for me to like switch back and forth like this. What I like with MyClaw is that it has memory. And so I have very long-standing projects. So like I can leave. I have a project that's been going on for a while and it knows exactly where we were at. And so it keeps it in memory and it knows where I was at. So today I have essentially my claw in GChat, and I have like 10 of them that I'm talking to and dispatching tasks. My next step, I'd love to be on the phone with them. I'd like to talk to my agents. But this is an evolving workflow. Guys, after this, we're gonna chat. If you guys have tools that you love, I'd love to hear about them, because that's another thing. Ask other people what tools they're using. I'd love to hear what you're using, what's been working for you. Maybe I can incorporate it in my workflow.
Okay. Do you want to comment on this question? And
I think from my personal perspective, I have been using Claude and OpenAI a lot, but company-wise, our company has been focusing more on spending Google Vertex AI recently.
Yeah, on our end, we use Claude as well. But it's scary, you know, going back to your point that you can have all these agents. It's basically never ending, right? You'd think that you outsource work, but in fact, you multiply the amount of work that you end up doing. So you end up working more, doing, of course, more things. The AI agents are taking tasks away from you and giving you back so much time that they want to take from you. You have to be careful at this never-ending loop.
okay. Other questions?
Hi, thanks so much for your insight. I guess my question is, with these new tools, I guess what are you learning day to day? If it's not coding, is it just like managing AI, or is it like learning more of the domain knowledge, or yeah?
Yeah, I think that's a very deep question. I'll tell you an experience that was very frustrating to me. We had to ship something out very quickly, so we had to run a code. Somebody was on holiday, and so I jumped on, Claude and started interacting. I did not touch a single line of code. We shipped what we had to. And at the end, I reflected myself, like, I was able to code this in a language that I didn't know, but I had learned nothing. I had accomplished the task, but I had learned absolutely nothing. And so that's why I'm saying it's a very deep question, right? You can be the executor of so many agents and ship out a lot of things, but don't really grow as a person. So that's a gap to be mindful of and to be very careful. Now, the good thing of this technology is that before, to learn and to keep up with the new tools, etc., you had to go out, learn about what's out there in the world, etc. Now, these tools have made it recursive for you to, you can ask the tool to teach you the new things about the tool and etc. So we go back to what are we looking for in people? Curiosity is what's going to keep you afloat and keep you learning. It's very easy to go down the rabbit hole and just say it's going to take over my life and I'm going to be an overachiever because I will ship so many results per minute or per hour or something like that. But yeah, keep in mind that you have to keep learning and know what are the latest things, but that technology can help you in doing that.
It's interesting because when some of these tools have been developed, right, there was a lot of discussion and research on reinforcement learning from human feedback, which was one of the methods in sort of training these AI agents or the chatbots to better align what humans wanted. And now it seems that we've moved into human learning from AI feedback. So any other questions?
So I really appreciate what you just shared about what you're looking for when you're hiring new students. I want to ask a more specific question. Like, when you're hiring new students, have you seen any student project that's impressive to you? Especially with the current focus on AI technology, everyone can code and everyone can theoretically build some impressive projects. So when when you're looking at student projects, have you seen some projects that really stand out to you?
Yeah, from my experience, right? So I have seen two different type of scenarios. One, it looks impressive on the paper, but when you start talking to the students, asking deeper questions end to end, they got stuck. So the students who got excelled in the interviews are clearly able to explain why one over the other. How did they choose? How did they get to arrive to this? Able to explain end to end with depth actually. So that differentiates at least. So yeah, I have seen students who are really impressive on resume as well as in explaining so clear of thoughts.
And let me also ask, do you see that there is going to be over time and reduction in the number of people that would be needed to do the things that your organization does, sort of the engineering level, or because of AI, or do you see a different world where people will still be needed but doing different things?
Well, so in my particular case, so yes, we will need fewer people to do what we were doing, but we will need more people because now we can do so many other things. So eventually it balances in terms of people. We can just do so much more that that we will always need, people who to join us, and it's absolutely clear that everybody will not be doing the same thing as before. So it's not that we keep our work constant, but we can do it faster and with fewer people. It's because everything goes so fast that we can expand the work.
I think it's too early to comment that AI will replace too many human people right now, because we haven't seen, at least in CVS right now, that it can massively replace all the folks. But on the other side, we have seen automation has taken more precedence right now. So I have seen the transformation since my beginning of CVS. I used to be there in the meetings. I used to spend time on understanding what everyone is speaking, because I have to send the minutes of the meeting at the end of the meeting actually. So, but now with Copilot integrated into the Teams, it does the transcript for you. So it does summarize everything for you. So I don't need to worry about what minutes of meeting I have to generate. So I can focus really on something else actually. So lot of emphasis, like leadership is expecting us to deliver faster now, because you are not starting from zero, but you are starting somewhere in the middle with AI as the co-pilot.
Clementine?
Sorry, remind me the question. I lost track.
So the question is, what do you expect in terms of number of people that would be needed? And
I mean, it's the debate in the industry, and I'm not going to pretend that I have a crystal ball and I know more than all the other experts out there. You have some people that are going to have the pessimistic view, which is that it's going to take away all the work. And the CEO of NVIDIA respond to those people, well, they're lacking imagination. So, I don't know which camp is going to win. I certainly hope for sure it's going to displace the work. It's going to put it somewhere else. I don't know, Yanis. I hope we're going to see something positive.
okay, so I think we'll take one more question and then we'll close, because as I said, staff are waiting outside and you don't want us to be in the middle between you and food. So
So the hope is that because of AI, I guess conventional jobs are changing, so roles are evolving. So my question is, how would recruitment change? Because like now jobs ask for like things like prompt engineering. So how would like the interview of this era reflect those demands or those requirements?
I don't know. I can tell you I don't know because obviously I just changed jobs, so I just went through the interview process, and it's from my experience, it hasn't quite landed yet. You have still companies doing the old lead code and others that are going to do the prompt engineering. The problem is that like we're right in the thick of it. And you kind of have to be prepared for both. Eventually, I assume it's going to move toward prompt engineering type of work. But but right now we're in the middle of it. We're in the transitional phase. So I think it's ongoing, and you have the forefront companies that are pulling the herd, but we're in the middle of it.
I can add a little about it. So we still do technical coding interviews right now where people log into the lead codes and we can clearly see how they're coding right now. But we frame our questions in a way that you are free to use ChatGPT or any LLMs there. But the question is like, I'm trying to understand, are you still able to get to the answer with the support of AI or not? So I'm also trying to see whether you know how to use AI or not. So are you in the race or not?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely agree, right? We're in the transition phase, but maybe just to go back to your question, there are two sides in an interview, right? There's the, let's say, the you and the industry, right? So on the you side, I think how it has changed, absolutely bots are being used, so you have to know how to frame your CV and write the keywords so that you don't get rejected by somebody, by something, right, by an agent. So you have to learn that, unfortunately that's what it is, and so that has changed a lot. So this is on the you side. On the industry side, we're still hiring people. And so that goes back to, what are you looking for in people, and how do you distinguish, everybody can have an excellent technical project because nowadays it's so much easier. So how do you realize that the person behind it is good versus, has been using Claude more than the others or something else. And so that goes back to the human skills, to the human interview. Can you explain this project that looks so great, or are you going to be superficial? Human to human interview are still, I think, very important. At least for me, they're very important. And this is where you peek at the personality of the person you want to hire. So that remains crucial. But before you get to the interview, you have to go through these hurdles of machines.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here. I know that all of you are very busy. And thank you all for attending. So before we close, I would like to ask Renfei to say a few things about the program and yeah.
I just want to take a few minutes to thank you, Yanni, for hosting this discussion, and thank you for all of the good questions and the good answers, and thanks the last team to help us record this inspiring discussion. Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, all right, thank you.